the elections were conducted in a manner that was in accord with the law, or at least aspects of it were not carried out in a manner that is accord with the law. As a result, we mounted investigations, and our investigation revealed not what we call anomalies, but what we really regarded as malpractices. Because anomalies can really not affect the elections unless they are too serious. But in this instance, we discovered a great deal of malpractices during the campaign and before the campaign. Because of our discovery, we decided that we would go to court and challenge the election of President Adama Barrow on grounds that the law recognizes. Our complaint, or what we submitted to the court for determination, was that President Adama Barrow's election was invalid by reason of corrupt practices. 2, Adama Barrow was not duly elected or returned, and his election is otherwise invalid. 3, the votes cast in favor of President Adama Barrow in all regions are void by reason of corrupt and illegal practices. 4, the election is otherwise invalid by reason of non-compliance with which affected the result in favor of Adama Barrow. The election is otherwise invalid by reason of non-compliance with the Constitution and all applicable laws. These were the issues we presented to the court for determination, based, of course, on facts. We deposited in court documentary evidence, and this documentary evidence would include videos, and we had over 2,000 pages of evidence that we deposited in court. However, the Supreme Court decided that our petition, or let me say the petition, should not proceed because of non-compliance with Rule 11 of the elections petition rules. I didn't say our petition, I said no, let me say the petition. Because when it's a petition, probably people will think that this is UDP's. This was UDP. All the matters enumerated here, if the court had heard the evidence and ruled in favor of the petition of the United Democratic Party, it would be any other person, including those who contested in the last presidential election, who would again want to run in the by-election. So they would all have been given the opportunity, so it's not UDP. If we had asked that the UDP's candidate should be declared elected, then that would make it a UDP petition. But this was a petition meant really to regularize the playing field so that anybody who took part in that election could really take part in it again in a by-election if he so wants. Or those who did not take part, yet they want to take part, they could do so. So I say this because every time I hear UDP's petition, UDP call a petition, it's not UDP, but this petition for the people of the Gambia, championed by UDP as we have always done. Now, as I said, the Supreme Court rejected it on the ground that there are non-compliance with Rule 11 of the election petition rules. We availed ourselves of the right given to us by the Constitution and by the rules of the Supreme Court to apply for leave to review the judgment or the ruling. Again, that application was rejected by the Supreme Court. And that was the only court that we would go to. United Democratic Party strongly feels that our right to have access to justice, that we were denied the opportunity to present a case, that our grounds, our complaint was never heard. And again, so that those who go about to say that UDP's petition was dismissed, they are wrong, because it was never dismissed. In fact, it was struck out. So that misstatement, sometimes coming from the media, is inaccurate. Our case was never heard. Whether we were right or we are wrong, it was never heard. So we were denied the opportunity to present a case to the court. And during this, if we are given the opportunity, the Gambian people would know the strength of our complaints. They would know why we are in court. Having failed to be given the opportunity by the Supreme Court to be heard, the National Executive accordingly met and said, well, the options now open to us is to tell the Gambian people what we wanted to tell them in court. And that is what we are now doing. There have been several instances of corrupt practices. Corrupt practices that are prohibited by Section 116 of the Elections Act. And we have it that the slightest evidence of corrupt practice, just one single act of corrupt practice, invalidates an election. But we are presenting to you, the members of the press, at least not less than 20 incidents of corrupt practices committed by Adam Barrow or by his agent to his knowledge, with his knowledge, and by or by his spouse with his knowledge. And all these corrupt practices took place during the campaign period. And we have not mentioned anything about what might have been done in July, because that could not properly be regarded as corrupt practice as far as the Elections Act are concerned. But then whatever took place during the corrupt practices and whatever took place during the campaign period and is done in order to influence the electorates to vote amounts to corrupt practices. Now, as I said, there are at least 20, it's not limited to 20, but there are at least 20 incidents of corrupt practices, and I will now run you through them. I'll give 3 of them which are cash given. On the 9th of November, the President gave the sum of $1 million to Musa Drame to take to the villagers of Munyagen in purported assistance to help build their health center. The promise had been given in Kuntaya the previous day, when the people of Munyagen
The first one is better.
It was in Kuntaya the previous day when he made promise to the people of Munyagen that he would give them money towards the construction of their health center. And on the 9th, this money was delivered by Musa Drame, the governor, the CFO, and some other NPP officials. And at that gathering in Munyagen, the emissary, Musa Drame, told the people that the president has fulfilled his promise of giving assistance for the construction of their health center, and gave them $1 million, and Alcalo and other villagers responded that appreciate very much what the president has done, and that the only way that their appreciation should be done, in fact, Musa Drame has, and that the only way that you can show your appreciation to the president for this handsome generation is to make sure that his ballot box is filled with the ballot tokens. And that promise the villagers did make. And that promise the villagers did actualize on the voting day by ensuring that they voted for President Adama Barrow. You cannot have any act of corrupt practice than that. But during the same campaign period, the president went to Sutukung, where he had a rally, and at the end of that rally, he decided that he would go to Barokunda to make a courtesy call on the Grand Marabout and the villagers of Barokunda. In the course of interaction with them, he asked someone to bring money from the vehicle, and $100,000 was brought in, and the president gave it to a Mr. Bayo, one of the villagers, and with these words, "Nata ngamfang karafalma, katafayo binakang. Ngamfang karafalma, Allah kurusong lo munyindi." And these are all on video, gentlemen. This statement that I'm making, they are all on video. At the end of the day, all these incidents, you will have the videos or the photographs. That of Musa Drame is in pictures. You'll have it, and the others, they are on videos. You'll have the videos given to you. I think we'll arrange for people to send this to you through, how do you call it? Is this soft copy? What? How do you call it? Electronic. Okay, electronically, because it will not be possible. We can, but it will take us the whole day if you want to show each episode, each incident, if you want to show the video here. Now, that is what happened in Barokunda, and $100,000 is given. And in Kitty, also, a total sum of $45,000 was given to the youths, and these were in three tranches. First, a $10,000, a second, $10,000, a third, $25,000. And the first one of $10,000 here was given to the youths with a ram, and the $25,000 here was given with a bull. All by Ahmed Jite, and you all know that Ahmed Jite is one of the agents of President Barrow, and he gave it to the youths that he wants them to vote for President Barrow, and indeed he comes from Kitty, and if President Barrow were to win, if we assist him and President Barrow wins, that would give him also an opportunity of being appointed a minister by President Barrow, and then he can do a lot of things for the people of Kitty. I don't know if this is not corrupt practice. What can be qualified as corrupt practice? Now, in November of 2021, the communities of Basseterre Junction received milling machines from Lady Fatima Barrow and which Dalkalu, at which ceremony Dalkalu was introduced as a member of the NPP. And this donation of a milling machine was also done so that the people of, or the residents of Basseterre Junction could really vote for NPP and their candidate, Adama Barrow. And on 30th November at Sandu Misra, also we have a video which shows that the president's political advisor, 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍, and some NPP officials were distributing milling machines. And one, can you please have it? And one of the villages in the URR where milling machine was given was Sandu Misra. And not only was milling machine given to them, but 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍 also made a promise that the people of Sandu Misra would get a tractor. And the only thing that could prevent them from not getting a tractor is if President Adama Barrow is not elected. And the response of the people of Misra is that we are going to vote for President Barrow. We have seen the milling machine, and we're going to vote. We know that, so that we can have a tractor. Now, again, on the 30th of November, the milling machine was distributed in Kumbija by 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍 and Bubu Drame, and it was also during the campaign period, and it was for no other reason than to get the NPP, to get the NPP's candidate elected as president of this country. Between the 26th and 2nd of December, 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍 delivered the tractor to people in Taibatu, in Taibatu, in Upper River region. And when he did so, he told them, we shouldn't trick each other. We shouldn't trick each other. And we need to accept that the peace and development in this country is due to Adama Barrow. And we can only thank him we can only show him our gratitude by voting for him in December 4th elections. This was when the milling machine was given to the people of Taibatu. And on 2nd December, just 2 days before the votes, Pierre Ba, the chief of Nyani, and 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍 went to Kuntauru. And at Kuntauru, they told them that, I'm quoting, if the people of Kuntauru vote for vote for NPP, it will be known because Kuntauru because 𝐿𝐒𝐒 is designated as a polling center for only the village of 𝐿𝐒𝐒. That only 𝐿𝐒𝐒 will vote, residents of 𝐿𝐒𝐒 will vote at that polling station. You know? And he wants NPP to lead UDP by at least 200 votes. Then he thanked them, and Mr. Pierre for the great work he had been doing. And then you can notice it. You can notice it. Nobody of the chief because of his weight, because of his lost weight. Now, and at 𝐿𝐒𝐒 also, milling machine was given to the people, and in fact, what was most striking about it is that that was supposed to be a Gambia government project, but they had stamped on it NPP with the NPP logo, the horse. They had it embroidered on that. A video taken on the 30th of December shows that in Woolly Brief, in Basse, a milling machine was also donated, or at least given, by the regional chairman, Mr. Bubudrame, and Mr. Siakajata to the residents of Woolly Brief. And on 27 November, you have video recordings of Fabu Sane showing that he was distributing milling machine in Kiang, Julakunda. And after the handing over of the milling machine, he said, was to the effect, if someone gives you breakfast and lunch, be rest assured he will give you dinner when he wins. So if that same individual asks you for another 5 years, compared to the same person who has given mere promises, that is the opposition, and the NPP who is already giving you, whom will you choose? Look, we have come here, we've given you milling machines. And of course, you cannot compare us with those people who only come here and give you promises. So you must elect President Adama Barrow, and this is an incentive for you to elect him because he has given you breakfast, he has given you lunch, so dinner is certainly assured. This is also on video. And on the 3rd of December, this is some that captured on WhatsApp in Jimara, Saranjobo, Sehumbalo was seen there. This was on Friday, and he brought machine to them because these are people of Saranjobo speaking on WhatsApp. That on the 3rd of December, a day that was supposed to be a cooling day, no campaigns. Kumbalo went there and delivered milling machine to the people of Saranjobo, and all because he wants them to vote for President Adama Barrow. On 11th November, I believe this was even on national news. We all know one, probably have heard about Ajinde Njai, the UGDC women leader in Farafenni, who was corrupted, given money, and promised that she will be given a ticket to go to the Hajj. And because of that, she switched her allegiance from GDC to NPP, and she promised that she was mobilizing all the people in her community, all people who belong to her group, mobilizing them all to join the NPP and vote for President Adama Barrow. And she promised that she will deliver that part of Farafenye to President Adama Barrow, and she did. And she did so because she was corrupted. I'm sure if we watch turn of events around the Tobaski time, you'll probably hear that this woman has been sent to Mecca by President Adama Barrow. Again, that's an act of an act of corrupt practice. We all know Chief Yaya Jadusi. He has always been a propaganda mouthpiece for government. We all know how much discomfort. We all know how this man used his office to terrorize UDP supporters in LRR, but in Jara West in particular, during Yahya Jammeh's time. We all know how this man campaigned vigorously that Adama Barrow should not be elected as president in 2016. That's a common knowledge. He did everything to stop Adama Barrow being elected. Now he again should come and now stood by Adama Barrow, said that no other person will be elected president of this country other than Adama Barrow. I think these are people who do not know what decency means in life, who do not know what principles mean in life. After Yahya Jammeh had done everything for him, after Yahya Jammeh had pampered him in every way, he turns against Yahya Jammeh and now supports Barrow. But then, not only that, he engages in corrupt practices in the name, to the knowledge, and on behalf of Adama Barrow. He did so when he distributed cooking pots, cooking utensils, so forth, to women's group in Jara West. And he told them that these items are given to me by President Barrow to be given to groups within my circle. And we will start wondering, why would this have been done during election campaign period? 6 months before, this was not done. The milling machines, none was given to these villagers 6 months before the elections. Why during the election period? These were some kind of inducements which was meant to really get their votes in violation of Section 116 of the Elections Act. It's an outright corrupt practice that we wanted to present to the court, and the court refused to hear us. And of course, on the 1st of December rather, the governor of Central River Region, Mr. Abba Sanyang, with Siaka Jata, we are seen on a video in CRR where Mr. Sanyang said, we believe we have this belief that the reason you brought all these video, all these voters' cards and showed that you will vote for Adama Barrow. And then, of course, both Siaka Jatta and Abasanya gave donations to the people of CRR and urged them that they should vote for NPP. In fact, the presentation that was done, Siaka was on the video saying, well, I'm happy that my own people, my own relations from Lamenkoto are here. And this gives me great hope that in these coming elections, all of you are going to vote for President Adama Barrow. In fact, what we have just been brought to you is just a tip of the iceberg. More materials will be brought to you for your use. But the only way that you can be assured of receiving those materials in future is when you cast your vote for President Adama Barrow. And there are several other incidents of corrupt practices in various parts of the country. URR in particular, and in the Nyaminas, in Fladu, all these were documented and indeed presented in evidence form to the Supreme Court of the Gambia, which they have rejected, or not rejected, which they refused to hear. Now, we, on the advice of National Executive, we thought that some of these incidents of corrupt practices should be brought or exposed to the public, so that the public knows that we did not go to court because we are litigious. We didn't go to court because we just wanted to go to court. We went to court because we had substance. We went to court because we had hard evidence. And these are captured in videos. NPP officials speaking to their crimes. When I say speaking to their crimes, that is their violations of the Section 116 of the Elections Act, by donating or giving gifts, all for the people in the area to vote for President Adama Barrow. And we hope that this message will go out and the Gambian people will know that these are some of the reasons why we went to court, corrupt practices. There are other reasons bordering on electoral malpractices. There are other reasons showing how the IEC has carried out registration even at the close of registration in certain centers. Combo South, those evidence we have, and we will release those to you, the members of the press, at the most appropriate time. But for now, this is what we want to share with you, and it's not exhaustive, because it can have about 2,000 pages, cannot just be this summary, but this is just a summary of what we have. There's more of this. If it had been hard, that would have benefited the Gambia. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Doing Q&A?
Well, anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, you heard the Secretary General, the party leader, lay out in some detail some of the evidence, some of the facts that took us to the Supreme Court of the Gambia. Often when we are discussing national issues, some of our rivals, some of the critics, forget that we are within a transition context. It was only in 2016 that we end dictatorship in the Gambia. The work that was supposed to be we should have done over these 5 years included law reforms, comprehensive law reforms, including the rules of court, so that the tools and the handiwork of the dictator will not defeat the ends of justice. We have seen that a new constitution has been put aside. We have seen that commissions of inquiries, most recently the TRRC, have completed their work, and all of these things could not have been implemented, could not have been effected because we did not have comprehensive law reforms. We have a case, a very solid case. We took it to the Supreme Court, but because of procedural niceties, the case was not heard. So we believe this is an opportunity for the Gambians to understand that if you want to have the rule of law, if you want people to respect the rule of law, the laws themselves must give you justice. Because going to courtrooms and finding laws that are not in their substance giving you justice is the problem that this country has to deal with. And without law reform, we know that all the cases that will be going there challenging the political status quo will meet the same fate. So on that note, I would just want to emphasize that the party leader has allowed us to have a preview of these facts. We expect the journalists to verify, to confirm, to check all of these information, and thereafter report objectively on the proceedings here and the quality of evidence we have given you. We will have a few questions for the party leader and for the executive of the UDP. Then we will invite you again at an opportune time to lay even more evidence before you. We don't want to bombard you with all the evidence now. Otherwise, you may not be able to do your fact-finding and fact-checking and cross-checking of facts as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So we will take a few questions and then we will call this press conference the first in the series over. So questions for the party leader. Yes, sir. Please identify your media and who you are. Thank you.
I would like to ask in the local language.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. We can ask in all our languages. I mean, not local languages. I have always had issues with this. Anybody who feels comfortable speaking any of our languages, I'm sure we will be able to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
My name is Nadama Fadera. I would like to ask in the local language for the benefit of our guys down there in the Kians, in the Baribus and the Jaras there.
Include Nyani also.
Okay, Nyani. No problem. Okay, follow one after UDP Ninkate for Tamil presidential election, yes, will be the Yantakan but member the one in President Barrow will Tamil and will better for the next 5 years. I would have UDP people and the UDP government parentica because Modulka Nita Blood Cafe UDP Yamra Hope pages, but say UDP executive fella, Munabe UDP will second 1 minute Yamirata Latela. Purka jakoka evidence on case someone in series. Ya mera model te jahal na bang ya foko mena na nyule muta ya be someone your court, but why am I being published at the same time?
Well, question follow. UDP member tala mutare UDP wulu. Angayo le foko. Well. Many understand in a Kavoko political parties, ike londile for election order, ye contest in elections on ade ka ke ni dalilo le kama ka ko me contest la pour si gagner bari ni man gagner manyan kan ka ko ye withdraw completely odo natra femfe yalon ka ko e tata politiko kon le tata political party na yalon le dalila salim le kan ado ali yalon le pour banko la na fa le kan pour ka do ko ke banko e la election luso manyan na ken la ya ko be muru la ko ni o ke doron woto mol balonal ka ko mol nyanta lonal ka ko ite ku kotel ne ite dundi politiko to kabri mo soto no doron e withdraw ta ado UDP no me UDP di politiko no wala Gambia te damanta man Gambia je Gambia me alon ka gain me yen sula nenete muru la ko koma ado mari fanando ila banko ni kado kunole o ya tara e mantra masakunda kono kado ko kakumol mel fo kakumol mel itande masakunda la ya o ka ken la masakunda nyanta ko dol mel kala e sike no fansa ni press conference na kuma semenna ni na badil mel be foji o mo banko da dalonte adu mantra government do mari kulo mi yalon ka ko masakunda nyanta yemirala ko nyanta nganyini nyinke pour problème membe na nyid la dote dimba membe joton safa bad mantra government adu meme political party ti o sifa na ko leke ane mo kunklina li be sa ke ngona so UDP be mento kolom ko kabrum kunum be mento comme na patio ba taman lale election na ta fanando ba contest lale no adu wamu include ni député kat fayo men bina kanten ko mbetar la ka ko mbetar la tolle ngajele la dolto presidential candidate ka boy bar ni ta national assembly elections nyol to ila patiolo eda ni kanyang wala fana sembe ba so député bon kono adu nin député bonlo nin sonta ka ko député boni tarta karakilin damana odo bankoni aditala nyatala nyame wala ya nambe continuer la de na politiko la be continuer la de ka mollondi nyin kata fay nala pour ngaja ko député bu me yaron ka ko atele kan jam bambanta bake executive ti ay lo ka ko executive député bu ka executive boni no ba executive ka député bu boni no député bu ka fa executive ni duani e ka lo la tani lo la ya londi so asembo wata bake wadula na bajal ka ko ngata jeto ngana mollo de pour sije sotono elok fula nyama na moni nam nyimba fonti la peace bill même ko de ka ko ni ajur ma mol kan e bu ka jube no ka mbenyi na mutala ba fo mbenyi na mutala wodo ngake kilin ale ñu ko practice ñu la li ajube ko ngam même fo video ñilu be sen na liele by electronic means albe videos ñol jela albana talo jala be mol nak makal moyna kaji be fonga ko mo men fota fa to nyaata fa man to nyaaya ni yaaja ngabe ji ko la si nyaakile kadu ko la fon ko lo wodi itata evidence ka ko benyi ne nat la sai ngamuru ngata do nale e ka be le samba si nyaakile ya be deposit jeto par press conference na ita membe press conference na to ka ko lafta ka nyiki baro le bi wadi ko don ale na be nyiki baro dila wala ya na mabe ka si nyaakile.
Okay, I'm from the Cairo Kilamani Nakamola, Hanibida Mana, Ditanding, and okay, my name is Howard Suso and I work for King FM. Hanibida Najelo Abitanding Internet the United Democratic Party, about preparation towards the upcoming National Assembly election. Actual last time Munati, I need to go to the funding election of Munkana, Albania to the minute.
mbedun kan ka dafa wala kono ni jiko ngimta ka ko mbesi ala jeke mo le jiko soto wala yatina be contest la adu be contest la nala kidala kata fay banko kan nala kidala be contest la jeto so bareta wala adu mbole fanan kala.
My name is Mahmoud Tumani from Korea newspaper. I have two questions for you. My first question is, what is the state of UDP and GFA and others? Is it intact? And my second question is, will UDP be contesting all the 53 seats in the upcoming National Assembly election?
The first question, UDP and GFA, we were not in a coalition. There was no coalition arrangement. There was no alliance arrangement. They endorsed the candidature of UDP, and that endorsement was for the presidential elections. In fact, they said we endorsed the UDP's candidate for the presidential election. So, if anything is to happen again, that could be a matter of discussion. But we did not have any coalition that one would say has broken down. I mean, there was endorsement, and the endorsement was for the presidential election, and the presidential election is gone and over. So we do not see that GFA is in any way bonded in any way with UDP, and so is the same for Madam Marisol Jabate. Now, the question whether we're going to contest the 53 constituencies, that is our plan. That is our plan. We want to contest for the 53 constituencies. And why shouldn't we contest for the 53 constituencies? I see that it's the ladies who are dominating this.
Ntatom CDB kanilati kadu boke tiki radio. Isara wala tini kala mena by affiliating albesede ni jaru findi kan jamai. Adum affiliating dibite carte fo ni kana. UDP dum lel fere kenola. Wala mulabe UDP bulu kaje ko NPP fero ni yalan ko yolle ke puta carte fo gani akana afulanja by affiliating albesede jaru findi kan membere ela masimu tio. Sa mule fere betara je kaje ko National Assembly election oni e kana go for UDP be gani la nyanda.
Baraka Mr. Kanyen ila jabiro kuma atabake ba ito jabiro sotla jabiro na fero momenti ndo fala moy ni membe keleda monya na mena fero fala ka ba ko be keleda kuma atabak ban ka fala del dammal ben na exam del ba fa den ngana ko ngeta man.
This side, please.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. My name is 𝐏𝐑𝐄𝐒𝐒
I report to better picture product.
For the truth to be known, it should be heard. And you said that the Supreme Court refused to hear your case. And as they said, it's like due to some procedural niceties. I want you to elaborate more on that. Why do you think the Supreme Court refused to hear your case?
In my introduction, I said when we presented our petition, the Supreme Court struck it out on an application by Adamabaro's lawyers that there was no notice of the presentation of the petition, and that also the issue of cost, security for cost, was not served according to Rule 11 of the elections petition rules. That was their reason for striking it out and refusing to hear our case. We have disagreed with that because in the first place, the petition was served on the President through the Chief of Protocol, and the Supreme Court found that that was good service. Now, on the issue of the cost, we served his lawyer. And according to the Supreme Court rules, the party includes the party's lawyer. So if you serve a party's lawyer, you have served the party himself. And we served his lawyer, Mr. 𝐶𝐒. And there was an affidavit showing, attaching, the fulfillment of the security. And of course, you serve, issues of security because you want to give the other party maybe an opportunity to look into the sufficiency of the security that you may be providing. But our security was determined by the Supreme Court. We applied, and the Supreme Court said you have to provide security in the sum of $300,000. We provided it and gave notice that we have provided the security of $300,000. There was no rejection or no contention by the other party that your security of $300,000 is insufficient, so it should be reviewed. There was no such thing. So it was just on a mere technicality, because already, what is the essence of the notice? The essence is for you to know that an action has been brought against you. They know that action has been brought against them because they were served. And it was because of the fact that they know that an action was brought against themselves, that is why he was able to hire a lawyer to go and represent him in court. If he did not know of the pendants of the action, no lawyer would have been hired. So it was a mere technicality. In my first statement on this, I said, well, the Supreme Court has sacrificed justice on the altar of technicalities. And this is a court I know, because I have practiced before the court several times. It's a court that does not give weight to technicality. It always says that we want to carry out, we want to achieve substantial justice. And here, substantial justice would have been achieved if we had gone into trial. They look at the merits of our complaint. They know, you make this allegation of cooking pots. There is no evidence. We do not believe that evidence. But how can you refuse to believe the evidence when you have the video? Fabu Jata, Fabu Sanarada, the milling machine was given in Kiang, Virakunda. It's in video. How can anybody disbelieve that? All these things that we are saying, they are all in video. As I said, we are sending this electronic mail to all of you, and you'll see them. So if we were given the opportunity to go to trial, justice would have been done. And then it would be left for the Supreme Court to decide whether those acts amounted to corrupt practices or not corrupt practices. If they decide that it doesn't amount to corrupt practices, we'll decide, well, okay, the Supreme Court has heard us and allowed us to give our evidence, but they do not agree that this amounts to corrupt practices. That would have been justice. So, again, Stan has said, maybe this is need to review, but that's not the position of the court. The court is not saying that this was need to review. What the court is that lawyers should pay attention to these rules.
Yeah, just a follow, can I? Follow? Yes, so in other words, are you saying this is a weakness on the side of the judicial system for not letting you present your case?
Well, I'm not sure whether it's a weakness, but I say that it is really, for me, it is really devaluing justice. If you are not putting premium on justice, you are putting premium on technicality. I'm not sure. I cannot say that this was.
Yes. The video we have.
Come on. Wait.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mama Ejuru from the Voice newspaper. My question, Mr. Dava, is if UDP was in power, what are the mechanisms, or what are the mechanisms that you're going to put in place to make sure the Fonyi incident is not repeated? And how are you going to put what are you going to do? How are you going to implement those things? My second question is, you said that you are planning to contest for the constituencies. Now, do you believe in the eligibility of the Independent Electoral Commission?
The Fonyi incident, if the office would not arise, because we'll address the problem of it. That is the team by the EDC team by 3. And we would have taken before now steps to ensure that no illicit timber comes from southern Senegal
through the Gambia to any party. And of course, that will be a reason why the Senegalese security will not intervene on the Gambian territory in these matters. But more important than that is that we will make sure that the mandate of whether Senegalese troops or economic troops will make sure that their mandates are quite clearly spelled out. That whatever takes place in the Gambian territory will be for the Gambian security officers. Of course, that does not rule out, or that does not rule out the fact that there will be cooperation between the Gambian security and these other security outfits. But it will be Gambian security that will be completely in charge of whatever takes place on our territory. What takes place in another place is going to be our concern. So that's certainly, that would be the way that, one of the ways that we will deal with it. Now, as to the, I'm sure you mean, in the build, I'm sure you mean fairness. I think that's what you mean. Yeah? Well, you know, what we have now is the REC as its constitution. And we just have to deal with that until the better times. You know, when I present the next pieces of evidence on the electoral malpractices, then people will start questioning themselves whether this is the IEC that we have. But for now, it is the IEC that we have, and it is the institution that we have to work with. And of course, maybe when they hear some of the revelations that we're making, maybe some of them might consider resigning to say that I cannot leave, continue to work in this institution under these circumstances. But as they say, what cannot be enjoyed, won't be enjoyed. I think that's what they say. Yeah. Look, you know, so we just have to go on with elections with them. I'm not pronouncing on their fairness or their lack of fairness. I don't want to make any pronouncement on that.
Plus.
Bakary Camara ba official ekidabo ni question ni anata yekelea bolo kabo ila kore o minoma ngale aloko ini denta ina pati wala e kany miro so do wati ndinna min itada fo ila winota ya dum bloko no itaka fili laringe e kata ko fo wato man si yetel buda itawo Camara ya bila ite ya mira nyame ko yaajele ni na day kamfare e ka do kilo lay e ka buru to bunya ni falando albandi leta ke kamba wayatina e man sontala kada ila wino ni Camara najile 2002 or 2001 men kada no election oto 2002 ayatina ima molodi because of grounds on the land in 2002 lobby balia and then this year you wakili mune ye fada o be ko mala fu ko sama
mamira nanko di yana ko binola mamira nanko diala nanko diala do do tan fo la no kan sa exactly to tan fo la no kan no ite fe fo bari ni ucho su ta nyaaw na ti kan ucho ko no ni men faten mo men faten ani bina na ti kan ucho ko no le o investigation o ka nentil tan kan tan kun na no dano na ko so isitano dane onom ko adun ta ko le ko luaya ala ni nyata kala wolto kata manfa mahana ko na bino kadin ma ngam memfo ni adi be na court na yin ka no ko je ma ko do ya dikla ka so se double ko ya dikla ka ano baro na election amang kadi anu luwa manta nyola election ni ya ba election ko so amang ka ko winta so mi dala ko bari ko ke ka to fa na manta ni silo so a nyanta a janjang na janjanga ba election ko so amang ka ko ngambulo ndano kada do manta no wata do nyata ba da manya do manta da yes yam fo yam fo lo so do kale vundi tan na den flow den alta den kilometer wadu lam fana ngala yes ya non hadama din ibal fayale kana ka konke ba katina wala te ko den le bulam ani ko ba ko ni ya wa to ni ko do al ni ka boleh fani ke demale ni on kasaya bi wado wande yudi ko ninsi isi solo sande sakuto wado wande ninsi da yaya sisi ya membu talinde isara ko fan laftal ko ten ka ban a continue ka mo non kasabi non jera saya ko and mamira ko nyanta Gambia din killing yamarla kafoko ta dinin manya ko nansi ke banko moli umsako ay kam fay ni umsako so wala yatina fonin ko ni porque iso sumaya ke dai kam ko sai fak ne kilimi de ko nganya to na ngato ni ka ko tembe be senete ita lafta ita yimu soso fadi ko ka ko ita lafta yimu soso yedi bayal so ba ni fakata te yinge bu ita futu ita ko na so na isa ko karo na ba tembe na do fa da mo fidi namira nyanta as a leader militant democracy moko usifanya wale yatina mason wa fundi ipeka kuna kama ila ya ikanyi mwe kwenye gani mwe namira ndokun killing koma nikeme sembika dole ani LR alpha dolbe you young for me about their own constituency go Supreme Court ko ite kito kala fante ba kito kala ko be kito kala nyaade ko be kito kala ko ila constituency ni gani wa ite la dibta gani sa wolam kito ni be constituency do de ndama ha constituency ni ke mo no jeego e gani keloni ko be men kala in the state ani ngata ngati di ballot na kato ta ngadi na dibto na dibto le National Assembly control men ya da UDP ay kena ay ke bank kila ko ni am ka ko 2001 yes na konko na pana mansona tutakache pana na election adam ko le di na Mr. Baki then man did something or then man ke part of the decision of the executive na yegis consider the sangilu UDP la in the consequences amantanya ado oyenda koji aya sign the covenant kadu election 2002 National Assembly election nita da je kanu mesira ni male bili but no withdrawal ayake ni vita banko vita ni Assembly namina katala for a little while down na the deputy killing
Assembly, Kabra Baba Joe, Kabra the problem kono, by election katajeto, KMSN contested. Then so no in the National Assembly. But a monkey decision may along Kavoko, debe indudi bi alcohol la kake. Kavoko ha, ni kata pa otata nyame, ni do fana le ni do fana mita onyale, amana ba sala no. Ning kombo kala the correct la. Muso bata na wuli. In fact, wuli muso dolam. As part of a delegation, Muswarula from 7 constituencies in URR in Atajantu. Wuli la delegation nyatonko, konyako, nammem foe kabrinata wuli, ko, ebe more don lane. Hanaka be karakata kesa warada mane sotla. Ay lo ay kata kesa waro nyi soto. Kadi ko saja kaboko, wala mo telefona nyati jeli. Kodan de muruna koma kaboko, de molon ladlato. Hanaka kaboko, be kata sabada na sotla jeto. At least mardo na kaboko, nyendula nyambanko kande, nyendula kado na dudla sotle na kacha nyo sotle jeto. So wala yati na this year, menkata 2002 ngan ay nimsa pakele adu mamira abekala ko nenge 2011 aketale barwo all the parties ne lefana agreed kaboko abekala all the parties doi PPP UDP GMC, not all the parties. Melialan Kavako, the Fonko, the parties Melialan Kavako, we are advocating for electoral reforms. The GOVA, what they are thinking. But we don't want to suffer in them, at a certain order. So we are going to contest all the elections, all the seats. The son of Kuyakel Nakotanke, they are Kavakala and Misakuti. It is because of Mobile called Koreana, Kiharikia West. Ye APRC, ye National Assembly. What are you Bakau, APRC, the National Assembly members. So we are not going to go into that type of situation. We are not going to party and about weekend Bangkok.
We'll take 2 more questions and we take some rest.
Salamu. Kala pe ni kala mena. Na kala mudo. Para miti na ranjang ye gas faye kam. Ko problemo ni kadra keda monte mo ya ko do ansai. Anu patio do so rejele melialam de bada ko pala so do ko ni ko. Na je mo min banko do wol pinga drom. Ko lu ko ka findi ka sem ko jaay kam.Udi pela simba do ko si palto.
O silafula le balance kamena. Kelen yang punya dan bedokan. The protest yang kontak sabla fuda kita luar leslo kita kau. Anu wasilo pengayam orang saudara. Kalau mana kita kau pada mafia. Dalam dan kita kau dah hanya berfail. Aku konyi yang mengatakan. Kalau mata pula kau kau iman kesesama kau. Baiklah kau, jangan lupa mantan nasional. So we seek advice. Nak bayar dulu, ya phone ni, bermainkan.
Greetings to you all. My name is Bintu Sinate from Gambian Currents TV. The question I want to ask Mr. Dabo is, was he invited to attend the President Barrow's January 19 inauguration, and if so, why didn't he attend? And then my second question is, we saw Mr. Dabo, 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍, and also Mama Kande, they joined a release a statement that they rejected the election. And later on, we saw that 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍, he withdrew, and also he congratulated the president. Did he reach out to Mr. Dabo to ask him about his decision, and also how Mr. Dabo feels about it? And also my third question is, what is his current relationship with Mama Kandeh?
I'll take your questions in reverse order. My relationship with Mama Kandeh is very cordial. We have never been treating each other at arm's length. We consult, we share information, so our relationship is good. Now, when you talked about whether I contacted Mr. Dan, probably whether I contacted Mr. Fal. I thought that's your question.
Mr. Fal has contacted.
Yeah. Well, certainly, when Mr. Fal thought it fit to dissociate himself with this statement, he called me and told me that he was going to have a press briefing and to inform the press that he was no longer part of the decision that was taken on that day, and I really accepted and respected his decision. And the background of it is that certainly we were having beer for all, and Marisol, Madam Marisol. I'm sorry, Marisol, please will forgive me. I continue to say Marisol without saying Mrs. Marisol, So please forgive me for that. I'm like, you can't pay me now because we are so funny that, I will be forced them that. So, Mama Kandeh came in, and 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍 also came in, and certainly I wasn't aware that 𝐂𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍 was coming. I had no previous information that he was coming, and I did not really also ask that he comes to that meeting. I asked him to be invited to be part of that meeting, and there's a first draft was done by our senior administrative secretary. Our senior administrative secretary did the first draft, and I think the most important part of that draft was that we have grave reservations about the results. That was the draft that we had, and of course Mr. Fal suggested that that was too weak a word. We should say we reject the results. To say that we have grave reservations is not enough. We should say that we reject the results in total. And one of the persons at the meeting said, well, before rejection, since we make a reservation, do our investigations, and when we have reason, then we can come out and say we reject the results. But then, we finally agreed that the word rejected should be inserted and the word grave reservation should be deleted. And when he decided that he would, we respected his opinion, and that we had no problems with it at all. And he gave his reasons for really not wanting to be part of it. And, the other issue is whether I was invited. Well, I wasn't invited, and up to 11:30 p.m. of the eve of the inauguration, I was in my sitting room watching television, and I came out before I went to bed, to ask my guards whether anybody had brought any invitation or any letter, and they told me no, there was none. And in the morning, also, by 9 o'clock, I went out and asked if any letter had been brought for me. I was told no. Well, so I wasn't invited. Maybe I was being regarded as a contestant, that I was one who opposed President Adama Barrow. Maybe that's why they did not invite me. But I thought that as a former vice president, forget about the fact that I contested elections with President Adama Barrow and Barrow. Forget about that. But I am former vice president, and I would have thought that as a former vice president, I would be invited in that capacity. But again, that was not how. So I couldn't, I didn't attend because I was not treated as a former vice president, and I was also not treated as a contestant. Maybe if I had congratulated President Adama Barrow, maybe I would have been invited. But then we got that issue. So let it be known. Even during some official functions, I always attended. I never shied away from attending official functions. It is party functions that I refuse to attend. The arguments and without disappointing that I refuse to attend. But when you come to matters of the Gambia, independence and so forth, I always attend them, unless I'm not invited. So that answers your question.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I think that was the last question, and we want to thank you very much for coming and for coming in your numbers. And like the party leader has said, this is going to be a series. You will be notified in good time. Ngeen mën a ñëw bokk ci waxtaan bi lii waxtaan la rek laajte yi ñu fi laajte gis nañ ne yëpp ci soose la ak angale waaye dañoo bëgg a bamtuwaat rek ne waxtaan moo xew suñ diggante ñun ay doomi réew ñu ngi gërëm taskati xibaar yi parce que ñun ñëpp lañ invite waaye gis nañ ne am na ñoo xam ne dañoo ñëw suñ leen invité GRTS si boppam invite nañ ko ñu dafa am solo rek pour suñoo wax affaire yi réew bi ñu wax ko ci dal ak ci teranga ak ci yar dafa am solo rek pour su fekkee ne réeroo nañ ñu waxtaan ndax suñu waxtaanee dinañ jubóo so ci turi parti leader bi ak ci turi national executive bi maa ngi leen ak gërëm di leen sant seen teewaay ak seen liggéey réew parce que liggéey réew bi ñun ñëpp a ko bokka amul xaj ak seen ñun ñëpp a ci am ku nekk da ngaa béy sa waar def li nga mun maa ngi leen a sant di leen gërëm jërëjëf thank you very much for coming and have a good day. Thank you.